Have you ever read a story on Reddit and realized you know the person in real life? What happened? The reverse happened to me. About 2 years ago I was diagnosed with precancerous cells in my cervix, which simply put translates to I didn't have cancer yet but was going to if it wasn't handled. Thank God they found it early. I posted on Reddit for a while during the whole ordeal because I wanted to reach out to others who had gone through the same thing and learn more about the procedures, etc. Anyway, one day a friend came over and randomly asked me about it. Immediately I was confused because I hadn't told anyone about it other than my mom, and so he kind of laughed, kind of apologized, and said he had found my Reddit and read my posts about the whole thing. Like, even my replies to comments and stuff. Lots of honest and detailed things. I mean, it wasn't a huge deal, but it was a little awkward at the time. My oldest sister. I asked her if she had a username based off of one of her favorite bands, specified the album her username referenced. She said fuck. How did you find me? Her dog was on the front page of Awe. Never really went through her post history. Sometimes see her commenting on stuff. She gets an automatic upvote. I'm like 95% sure I stumbled across my manager's Reddit account a couple months ago. There were numerous points in a post I read that lined up perfectly with things he had been talking about at work for a couple of weeks beforehand, and the word use and tone matched his speaking pretty perfectly, not to mention the account name was fitting. It was super weird reading through the post and having this slow realization that it was him. I didn't mention it to him. This kind of knowledge is too powerful. Technically I don't know for sure, but I have a damn good feeling. About a month or so ago a guy posted a thing saying his girlfriend believes she is a cat. He went on to explain their relationship and all her quirks and whatnot. The more I read the more it sounded like this girl I had a really complicated relationship with some years ago. Everything matched, even her age. At one point she said something about wanting to quit her job and live full-time as a cat, and I swear to God this girl I knew once said the same thing to me. The girl I knew even used to meow and mew like a cat. I reached out to Op to see if we lived in the same area, to find out if it was in fact her. Because if so I was gonna warn him about the fact that she was very emotional, abusive and manipulative, but he never answered. I'm still fairly certain it's her though. I was browsing the sub for my city and saw an interesting post. I looked at the username and recognized it as an ex-co-worker because the username is the same one they use on Instagram. Out of curiosity I looked to see what else they had posted and found out that they are really into taking shrooms. Never would have guessed it. This person was so straight-laced and by the book when we worked together, I was really surprised. Yeah, some idiot that I was seeing briefly years ago kept mentioning Reddit and certain subs, so I started browsing because it sounded interesting. Came across a post that was undoubtedly him, had his car in it and wording only he'd use. I was just about to text him found your Reddit profile, when I clicked on his username just to find a post complaining about my leg hair and saying that I don't shut up quickly enough when he interrupts me. I shut up real quick when he never heard from me again. I recently discovered an ex's Reddit. We dated in 2004, and it was interesting to see his comments and posts, but eventually they just stopped. Then a few months later I learned he had died. Life is short. Edit. He was a nut in 2004, only got nuttier with time. He did a lot for me and I wish I could tell him that. I came across someone I knew from high school. We weren't friends or anything, but he was a nice enough guy. Him and his wife had lost something like 100 pounds combined. I was happy for him. My wife and I lost 100 pounds combined too. She lost 120 pounds. There was an AskReddit thread that asked the worst scene emergency responders have come upon. One was about person I went to high school with who was murdered while off at college. Was pretty creepy. Edit, link to an article. In my town a toddler escaped from his daycare and was wandering down the middle of a busy road. He was found by a local worker, After hearing multiple people honking as they drove around a kid, I posted to my town subreddit asking what the fuck was wrong with our town that no one stopped. I got a beer with another dad and he brought up the story he read in Reddit, which I had posted. I said, hey, that was me, but the conversation just kept going. I don't think he heard. He probably thought, stupid, the toddler has to be at least 10 years younger than you. Soon after a wedding where I was in the wedding party, and knew the wife way better than I knew the husband, I found the husband on Reddit. He was so wholesome. I knew I liked him, and that they were a good match, but that was just an extra layer of being happy for the wife for finding someone like that to be in her life. Nice to see this did not go the way I was expecting. That first paragraph. So ominous, right? I was like, oh god, what did he put in his butt? In the Houston subreddit, someone posted a picture of a belly dancer at a Greek restaurant they went to. I think they were there for their anniversary, and they really enjoyed the restaurant food and entertainment. I looked closely at the picture, turned out I knew the dancer. We had taught at the same charter school about 3 years before. One of her first graders had been allowed by her mother to get ice cream every day before school at 7 a.m. every day. She crossed a major thoroughfare in rush hour traffic with her older brother. One day she ran ahead and was hit by a school bus that couldn't stop in time, and was killed instantly. My friend was devastated beyond belief and ended up leaving education. This started out so lighthearted and fun. Then it got incredibly and unexpectedly dark and tragic. What a heartbreaking event. Thanks for sharing. I got my girlfriend at the time into keto after discovering the subreddit. Fast forward a few months and we had both lost a bunch of weight. Then she started cheating on me. I found out, contacted the other dude and let him know the situation, and we both walked away from her. She posted on the keto sub a bit later about how she'd gone through a breakup and was emotion eating and whatever. I started to get a pit in my stomach reading it, and sure enough when I clicked on the pic she'd posted, it was her. She wasn't even a regular Reddit user and I'm pretty sure she made that post just for me to see. I would have replied with, sorry for your loss, I too just went through a breakup. My GF and I started doing keto, thanks to this sub, and she cheated on me after we both lost weight. Contacted the guy and we both walked away from her. Best of luck to you, Stacy. My Bill once posted to Ida about a fight he had gotten into with my sister. I had heard about the fight earlier from her, and the details in the post history made it obvious it was him. Everyone ganged up on him saying he was the asshole and he was being very argumentative and aggressive with the commenters, which is so unlike him. It was bizarre. I showed the post to my husband and didn't say another word about it to anyone. Someone posted an Ida a few months ago that seemed strikingly familiar, so I messaged him for a few minutes and learned that he was a customer with whom I'd had a bad experience earlier that day. The events he posted on Reddit had been trimmed so as to uninclude most of his worst moments. I messaged the mods proof and then posted the real story in the comments. The op was lambasted and for a brief moment I was a minor hero. He was a priest assigned to a parish where I was organist. Every comment he posted reflected our times together. Over lunch, I mentioned, I see you're on Reddit, too. He just smiled and asked, how did you know? At that point, we just laughed and became even closer friends.